5, 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine, 10, gonna do it right and do it big, yeah, yeah. I look into the sky with all the beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout, take a look and see a beautiful morning that turns into a beautiful evening, and together make a beautiful life. And if you wanna see, then come along with me, that's right. And if you want a good tomorrow, it's pretty simple, gotta find a way to follow. And if
What's up, YouTube? Son of Source here, and I am back with another video. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about depression. All right, I know a lot of people are feeling those symptoms and signs, so you have questions about it. What does it mean to be depressed, or how does it feel to be depressed? And a lot of times, you may not even know you're in it until you actually realize that you're in it. you know and let's talk about someone, like, say, some symptoms or signs that you start behaving in certain ways that may let you know that you are depressed. All right, so how about you isolate? Some people isolate, and a lot of people do, because when you isolate, then you're just kind of left alone to your own thoughts. And a lot of times when we do isolate, it is our ego that kind of continues to fuel that isolation. So it kind of like co-signs our isolation. So, and what I mean by that is our ego will keep reminding us of things that maybe we've done wrong in the past, or maybe things that people have done wrong to us, or how we feel negative situations or negative things in our lives. And it will continue to remind us of those things and continue to go over and over and over and replay, in your mind. So you start to tend to isolate yourself. And then, of course, like, say, and once you start isolating yourself, then you start acting a little different too. So you're not acting your same fun-loving self, a happy self, or whatever you are. You start being and acting the opposite of that. So you start feeling, like, say, abandonment from friends and things like that. So people are not as hanging out with you as much, or not calling you as much, because they're sensing some type of behavioral issues going on with you. And of course, true friends will reach out and ask you, hey, what's going on? Is there anything I can help you with? Those kind of things. And then, of course, if you are in that situation, then you're still isolating, so you may not take that help. You may tell them, oh, no, I'm fine, kind of brush it off, and not let people know how you're actually feeling, at that time. And then, of course, the abandonment of friends, then you start losing, like, say, certain interests on things that you would normally like to do. So if you find yourself losing interest on things that you normally love doing, then you have to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Get to the why, because that is the toughest thing as far as understanding why you're doing a certain thing. And then, of course, once you understand why you're doing that certain thing, then you can understand how to change it. What is planned in your internal dialogue that's keeping you on this same particular thing. And of course, if that thing is causing you hurt and pain and stress and struggle and things like that, then this is something that you want to definitely change in your life, because it's not providing you that source of freedom. It's not providing you those experiences that you may need for future growth, and understanding. So if you start losing interest, like, say, in activities, and and things like that, things that were actually important to you, things that you may have created, or you may sing, or paint, or anything that you may have a great love for and a great interest, and you stop doing it, maybe ask yourself, why did I stop? You know, was it, what kind of circumstances were you in? Like, say, what happened? You know, as far as, and so think about, some people, or, well, a lot of people have issues and problems, like, say, with their job and work and things like that. So if you do have unexplained absences, or you have an issue of waking up in the morning and kind of dragging around and not really wanting to be in that place of where you work, then you may be a little depressed about how you earn your money. So, and you may need to shake things up, change, Change what you're doing. If you love doing that, then maybe change the place. Maybe it's people around you that's making you feel a certain type of way, maybe fueling those anger issues or frustration or lack, or maybe adding stress to your life. So of course, which also will cause your ego to push you more and more into this isolation, which in turn you will feel more depressed. You'll feel more out of touch, with everything, with reality. And of course, you will be like, so to speak, out of your character. And if you're out of your character, you don't feel like yourself. And a lot of people don't feel like themselves. And when they don't feel like themselves, then they start kind of even isolating even more, doing things that will kind of them, hurt their growth, so to speak, and just kind of keep them stagnant, and really make them start sinking deeper and deeper into that isolation. You know, they start saying little things about, well, I feel like I want to disappear, or they maybe even contemplate suicide and things like this of this nature, discussing these things and talking about them to kind of normalize those things, and those are things that you don't want to normalize, because if you kind of dip that far in separation, then once you disconnect, it's hard to get connected back. Now, not saying that you can't, because you definitely can. And the only thing you have to do is change that thought that's fueling that depression, or fueling the separation, or fueling the things that make you want to isolate. And what are you thinking about? What are you saying to yourself to make yourself isolate, away from family and friends and things like that? But let's talk about some physical symptoms. Physical symptoms can be fatigue, or you feeling lethargic or sluggish. So if you're feeling this fatigue, or you're feeling sluggish, or you're feeling, like sad or down, like you don't really have any energy or anything like that, you have to figure out ways that you can get out and explore nature, that you can get out and raise and lift your energy level. So get out in nature, breathe, drink water, continue to add life and energy to yourself. And a lot of times we'll kind of, we won't eat the right foods. We don't want to, go out or anything like that. So we kind of stay to, like, say, a lot of sugary and high salt foods, which are mostly we name comfort foods. So it's a reason why they're named comfort foods, is because that comfort is something that makes us feel connected. Yes, this makes us feel connected. And I see my son may have a question for me. He came in the room, but that is the thing. You don't want to isolate. You know, and of course, these things, if you see yourself using or doing these things, then you may be sensing a sense of disconnection from your true self. And that's really, that's uh, something that you want to address, because if you don't feel like yourself, then that means something is wrong. And some people are completely different. We're all kind of individual thoughts of a higher source. So, and we're just in creations of that thought. So when we are here, then we all have different experiences and things like that, and different thoughts, which are all connected to the main source. But if you feel disconnected from that source, then you don't feel like your true self. And if you don't feel like your true self, then you don't know what to think or how to think. And then, of course, you can be easily led by other things that will kind of lead you in the wrong direction, or lead you into a place that may be better for someone else, but not the best for you, you know. But let's stay on these physical topics. So what I mean by that, they may have other people. You may be sad or sluggish, but other people may have a bunch of energy. They may jump around. They may just go there, and burn themselves out to the point of exhaustion. So then that way, when they go home, they just go completely asleep. Because they don't have to face any stress or pain or abandonment or anything like that. They just are completely tired, and they just go home, go to sleep. And then, of course, since we're talking about sleep, we can talk about, like, say, certain patterns of sleep too. You can have like certain drastic patterns of sleep to where you sleep extremely long times and you don't want to get up. You feel just tired all the time. Or you may have insomnia. You may not sleep as much as you used to sleep. And then now those things are kind of adding to your frustration, adding to your stress, adding to your disconnect of self. you know and that is something that is huge, because if you feel that disconnect and you don't feel like yourself, then that may also affect your eating habits. And if that affects your eating habits, that'll affect, like say, weight loss and things like that, weight gain, whether people eat, they don't eat, or they may eat too much. And like say, like I was talking about comfort foods, they may go more into the comfort food area and say, you know what, I have to have this to feel like myself. Or those foods remind them of childhood instances or childhood times to where they did feel normal, they felt connected to their self. So that's something that is very, very, you know, very, very important to know. And then also, if you think about it, you may have generational things that may, like say, family or friends, or things like that, that you've seen that's in these things as well. And of course, generational things is mostly we talk about family and things like that, but you may have friends, that may continue to repeat these same cycles that come into your life. Certain things that you have to say, you know what, I want to break this cycle, so then that way I can get connected back to my true self. you know so I mean, so let's think about, physical pains would be like, say, if you have headaches, or have maybe joint pain or stomach aches, or you may have like migraines and things like that. So, and if you're having these things, and then of course you're not eating properly as well, these things would contribute to those body signs. Of course, our body is a tool to kind of let us know when things are off. So when our body lets us know that things are off, then we have to figure out a way to get to the why, to understand how can I change this? How can I go back and connect back to myself, which in turn improve my health and my physical signs and symptoms as well. And of course, if you're doing all of these things, then of course it's going to be very, very hard to stay focused. It's going to be hard to stay on task. Those things are going to start, falling by the wayside, or they may start suffering because you're not completely connected to that creative self, or you're not really connected to that self that can stay focused on task. And of course, we know if you practice law of attraction and things like that, the more you stay focused, the more you stay just on task with that particular thing, that particular thought, then those things come to you a lot faster. A lot faster. So just know that if you are not able to stay on task, not able to stay focused, it may be something that's kind of pulling on your understanding of that connection of your true self, that's kind of keeping you from really reaching your full potential. You know, so you may have what about, like say, making decisions or being decisive on things or solving problems. You may have issues on those things as well, because those things are going to be the things that's going to keep you from moving forward, making the best decisions you feel like you can make. And of course, a lot of times when we reflect back and we look at decisions, we may see certain things that we feel like we could have done better on. Now, if you take yourself back to that decision, at that in that thought process, you know more than likely you felt that this was the best decision for you at that time. So if you're able to say, you know what, I made the best decision for me at that present moment, and then now I'm gonna learn from that decision, and then this present moment, I'm gonna make the decision that best suits me now for my growth. Then you learn from the last situation, and then you improve yourself from this situation as well. So those things will reconnect you back to your true self. You know, so those things of being in control, or those things of being, connected or on top of your game, so to speak, those things are going to be the things that's going to fuel your growth. They're going to fuel your growth. You may have, if you feel like you get distracted very easy, those distractions keep you from focusing on that certain task, which in turn keep you from manifesting the thing that you want. Not saying it will keep you from manifesting, because once you start focusing on something else and direct your energy towards something else, then you will start manifesting that thing. And of course, if you stay on that task at hand, then you will start creating those things. And a lot of times, if we're creating or thinking about negative situations in our life and not creating those things, the more emphasis, the more understanding that we put on it, the more focus we put on not having it, then we won't have it. So it kind of it creates a negative situation in our life, other than creating a positive situation in our life, because we're focusing on the negative. And the more you focus on that negative, the more that negative is created in our lives. So if you feel like you're always in a sense of constantly being distracted, so if you feel like if you have, like, say, certain mood shifts or mood swings or attitudes that you feel like, man, no, I was just happy and then now I'm upset, now I'm sad, now I'm mad, now I'm furious. Those things are things to take notice of too. Because when you take notice of those things, then you can understand that, hey, you know what, I may be feeling a little separation. I may be listening to negative things or negative thought patterns in my mind that are keeping me from actually being connected to my true self. And of course, if you don't feel connected to your true self, you're going to feel that separation. And then you're going to do things in that separation, which is going to be adding to your stress. It's going to be adding to your pain. It's going to make you want to isolate. It's going to make you want to kind of distance yourself from friends, people who actually know who your true self is. And a lot of times they don't know who their true self is. So, we're all kind of at this place of growth and understanding, and we're just learning from each other. And then also, if you're able to listen to the inner guidance system will always lead you to the place of that understanding to connect to your higher self. What timeline are you on? So to speak. So, and it's a bunch of different timelines. So, what do you believe, or what do you hold? What vibration you hold at that time is going to be the timeline that you're on. And of course, the things that you're focusing on, the things that you're actually manifesting in your life, those are the things that kind of let you know that, like, I'm on this timeline. This is what my inner guidance is telling me. This is what I've been following. These are the things that's making me feel this way. And of course, it's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So if you feel comfortable, if you feel like your true self, then you're moving in the right direction. If you feel like distance, if you feel negativity, if you don't feel like your true self, then yes, you are moving in the wrong direction, and you need to start taking some understanding, or at least change that self-talk that you have that's running. It's like a record that's running behind the scenes, and those things are things that's going to automatically make you feel upset or make you feel happy, make you feel love. you know So if you feel like you've had, and a lot of people do feel like they have, like, hopelessness, like, because we talk to a lot of people daily, and and people that feel like they're hopelessness, or really are helpless. They can also be helpless as well. So, and things that they continue to tell themselves these things, these untruths about themselves, and then, of course, about things that's going on around them too. So then they develop this sense of hopelessness. They don't have any hope for the future. They don't see anything good around us, anything that's happening in their lives. So they don't feel that positive energy. They don't feel that connection to that true source, which is who they are. So they feel hopeless. And then, of course, that will bring on anger and feelings of guilt and frustration. What I'm saying. Also, this will build self hatred. So once you build that self-hatred, it's easy to hate someone else when you hate yourself. And then on the flip side of that too, you can love someone else and then also hate yourself. A lot of people will put a lot of time and emphasis on loving other people, but they don't love themselves. And of course, and it's a small sense, or a subtle sense of that. Because that subtle sense of they may not take care of themselves in certain ways that they would take care of others. So they would give more out than what they're getting back, which is okay, in a sense of, you will deplete yourself if you stay on that process. So you have to continue to give back to yourself, build for you. Then that way, the more you build up in yourself, the more you're able to give to others, because that will create a balance for you, because you will continue to be able to refill or replenish your energetic self. Because people will kind of pull from your energy if you've kind of surrounded yourself from people that are in a similar state that you may have been. So if we tend to isolate, we'll kind of talk to or call people that kind of justify our actions and things like that. So misery loves company, so to speak. And those things are things that what we can find ourselves in. I mean, because if you feel like feel guilty for things that you've done wrong, or if you've been upset for things that you felt like, man, I shouldn't have done this in the past, and I have done this, and then now you feel guilty. That guilt that guilt will kind of hold you into that anger and frustration. It'll also hold you into that self-hatred, and then you don't want to move forward. And that is the thing, that once you have that and you develop that, it's hard to get out of it, but only you can correct it. Only you can kind of tell yourself the right things to pull yourself out of it. Now, you can talk to others to give you the right tools that you can use for it, but you have to implement those things in your life. And just know, once you do, then you can have that understanding, then that gives you the power to change it. It gives you the power to move forward in it. And then if you have, like, say, unexplained the things of panic, or if you feel anxiety, or if you get real, real irritable, all of these things are signs of symptoms of depression, that you may be in a depressed state, or you may have been in a depressed state for a long period of time. So once you start really realizing these things, and you can start making a change, on those. And the best way to make a change is to really go in and understand the why. Why am I feeling this way? And how long have I been feeling this way? And then once you understand that, then you can start releasing yourself from this hurt and pain that you've been feeling you know so we're going to talk more about that. So this is going to be we're going to talk about the depression, we're going to talk about anxiety, because you have the power to change it. You do. So I love you. I don't want this video to be too long, but I wanted to express a little bit today, and we're going to continue to talk about this subject, because this subject is very important, and I want you to fly. You know, my name is Son of Source, and my given name is Duran, which is Hebrew for freedom bird. So I want you to fly. I want you to fly. So just know that we love you and we are here for you. If you ever need us, we're at Myers Life Coaching, and you can contact us anytime. Anytime. All my information is in our description. Please subscribe, put a comment, please give us a like as well, to keep up this algorithm. We want you to continue to be blessed and loving, and stay focused. Just know that we love you. Son of Source.
You know I want the love. You know you need the love. You know we want the love. You know I want the love. You know we need the love. You know I got the love. Man, can you feel the love? Can you feel the love? You know I give you love. You know we giving love. You know we need your love.